At first glance, the idea sounds almost trivial. A light year. Two familiar words placed side by side. Light. Year. You hear it constantly in documentaries, science books, and space news. Astronomers mention it casually, as if everyone already understands what it means. But here's the truth most people never realize: the moment you truly understand what a light year represents, the universe stops feeling familiar. It becomes something far larger, stranger, and more humbling than your brain is prepared for. A light year isn't just a big number. It's a distance so extreme that it quietly breaks the way human intuition works. It's the reason astronomers had to abandon everyday measurements entirely. And once you grasp it, you'll never look at the night sky the same way again. To understand why, we need to start small. Very small. We need to start with something your mind already knows how to handle. Distance is something you deal with every day. You know how far it is to your workplace, to the nearest grocery store, to a friend's house across town. You don't just know these distances as numbers. You feel them. You understand them in terms of time, effort, and experience. A kilometer is roughly a 10-minute walk. 5 kilometers is a short drive. 200 kilometers is a road trip that requires planning, fuel, maybe a stop along the way. These distances make sense because you've lived them. You can picture the journey in your head. You can imagine the traffic lights, the turns, the scenery passing by. Human-scale distances fit neatly into the way our brains evolved to understand the world. Even larger distances still work, up to a point. Traveling across a continent, for example, feels big but manageable. Flying from one coast of the United States to the other takes a few hours. People do it every day. You cross cities, plains, mountains, deserts. It's long, but it's comprehensible. Even the size of Earth itself doesn't overwhelm us completely. The planet's circumference is about 40,000 kilometers. That's a huge number, yet humanity has wrapped its head around it. Sailors circumnavigated the globe centuries ago. Modern aircraft can do it in under 2 days. Earth is big, but it's finite. You could, in principle, explore all of it. Then we leave Earth. The distance to the moon is about 384,000 kilometers. Suddenly, our familiar measurements start to feel hollow. That number doesn't translate into a road trip or a flight. There's no path to imagine. No landmarks. Just emptiness. To reach the moon, astronauts had to ride some of the most powerful machines humans have ever built. They traveled at speeds around 11 kilometers per second. That's roughly 400 times faster than highway driving. And even at that astonishing speed, it still took 3 days to get there. 3 days of non-stop motion through empty space, just to reach the closest celestial body to Earth. And this is an object you can see with your own eyes, hanging calmly in the night sky. Already, kilometers are starting to fail us. Now consider the Sun. The distance from Earth to the Sun is about 150 million kilometers. Say that number out loud. Try to picture it. You can't. No one can. It doesn't connect to anything in your lived experience. Even if you used the fastest spacecraft ever built, it would take months to cross that distance. And this star isn't far away by cosmic standards. It's our neighbor. It's the source of all life on Earth. We see it every day. Yet it exists at a distance so large that human intuition collapses entirely. And beyond the Sun, everything explodes in scale. The nearest star outside our solar system is more than 200,000 times farther away than the Sun. At that point, using kilometers becomes absurd. The numbers stop meaning anything. They become strings of digits rather than distances. You can understand. This is why astronomers needed something else. Not because they enjoy complexity. Not because they want to confuse people. But because ordinary units simply don't work in the universe. So they turn to something universal. Something absolute. Something woven into the structure of reality itself. Light. A light year is not a measure of time. Despite the word year. It has nothing to do with duration. It is a measure of distance, the distance light travels in 1 year. Why base distance on light? Because light is special. Nothing in the universe moves faster. This isn't a limitation of technology. It's a fundamental law of physics. The speed of light is constant everywhere. No matter where you are, no matter how fast you're moving, light always travels at the same speed. That speed is about 300,000 kilometers per second. Every second, light travels nearly the distance from Earth to the Moon. In 1 second, it could circle Earth more than 7 times. In the time it takes you to blink, light has already crossed distances that would take humans years to traverse. Compared to light, everything else is slow. Commercial airplanes move at less than 1 kilometer per second. Even the fastest spacecraft ever built barely reaches a fraction of 1% of light speed. When you flip a light switch, the room illuminates so quickly that your brain treats it as instant. But it isn't instant. The light still traveled. The distance was just too small for you to notice the delay. Now consider the sun again. Light from the sun takes a little over 8 minutes to reach Earth. When you look at the sun, you are not seeing it as it is right now. You are seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago. If something catastrophic happened to the sun, this very instant, Earth would continue basking in sunlight for more than 8 minutes, completely unaware that disaster had already occurred. Light does not travel infinitely fast. It has a speed. And that speed connects distance and time in a way nothing else does. This realization changed physics forever. Centuries ago, people assumed light was instantaneous. It wasn't until careful astronomical observations revealed subtle delays that scientists proved light has a finite speed. Today, that speed is measured with astonishing precision, and it forms the backbone of modern physics. So now let's calculate a light year. Light travels 300,000 kilometers every second. Multiply that by the number of seconds in a minute, minutes in an hour, hours in a day, and days in a year. When you do the math, you get roughly 9.46 trillion kilometers. That's 1 light year. 9,460 billion kilometers. Each kilometer a real distance. Each one something you could walk in 10 minutes. And there are trillions of them in a single light year. At this point, we need to pause. Because most human brains have no intuitive understanding of numbers this large. 1 million is already big, but you can imagine it. 1 billion is harder, but with effort, you can wrap your head around it. 1 trillion is something else entirely. Counting to 1 trillion at one number per second would take over 30,000 years. Longer than all of recorded human civilization. And a light year contains more than 9 trillion kilometers. That's why astronomers don't expect you to imagine it all at once. Instead, we scale up gradually. 1 light second is 300,000 kilometers. That's nearly the distance to the Moon. 1 light minute is 18 million kilometers. The Sun is about 8 light minutes away. 1 light hour is over 1 billion kilometers. Saturn is more than a light hour from Earth. 1 light day is nearly 26 billion kilometers. Voyager 1, after nearly 50 years of travel, has only just crossed that distance. 1 light week takes us beyond the solar system entirely. 1 light month shrinks everything we know into a tiny point around an ordinary star. And finally, 1 light year. This is the unit astronomers use to measure the spacing between stars. Because anything smaller collapses under its own absurdity. But the light year does something even more profound than measure distance. It measures time. When you look at a star 4 light years away, you are seeing it as it was 4 years ago. When you look at a star hundreds of light years away, you are looking centuries into the past. Every star in the night sky is a time machine. Some stars you see tonight may no longer exist. Their light is still on its way. You are seeing ghosts, images of objects that vanished long ago. Distance and time are inseparable in the universe. You cannot talk about where something is without also talking about when you are seeing it. And this realization, more than any number or equation, is what truly changes how you see the cosmos. When you begin to understand that every distant object in space is also an object from the past, the night sky quietly transforms. It stops being a static backdrop and becomes a layered archive of time. Every point of light carries a history. Every photon reaching your eyes has traveled for years, decades, centuries, or even millennia before finally ending its journey inside your vision. This is why astronomers say that looking deeper into space is the same as looking further back in time. Distance and history are bound together by the speed of light, stitched into a single fabric. Take the nearest stars. Even the ones that feel close by cosmic standards are unimaginably far. Proxima Centauri, the closest star beyond our Sun, is just over 4 light-years away. That sounds modest until you remember what a light-year actually means. If you could somehow board the fastest spacecraft humans have ever built and point it toward Proxima Centauri, you wouldn't arrive in decades. You wouldn't arrive in centuries. You would arrive thousands of years from now. You could have launched that journey at the dawn of recorded history, when humans were first inventing writing, and you would still be traveling today. This isn't a failure of engineering. It's a confrontation with reality itself. Space is not empty in the way we imagine an empty room. It is empty in a way that breaks intuition. The distances between stars are so enormous that even objects moving at extraordinary speeds barely make progress on human timescales. Stars themselves drift through space, but even the fastest ones would take tens of thousands of years to cross a single light year. And yet, when you look up at the sky, these stars appear close together, almost touching. Constellations form patterns that feel deliberate and intimate. This is one of the universe's great illusions. The stars that appear side by side may be separated by dozens, hundreds, or thousands of light years. Their proximity exists only in our line of sight, not in reality. As we expand our view outward, the scale escalates again. Our Sun is just one of hundreds of billions of stars in the Milky Way galaxy. It's not exceptional in size or brightness. It doesn't sit at the center. It occupies a quiet suburb, roughly 26,000 light-years from the galactic core. When light left the center of our galaxy and began traveling toward Earth, humans hadn't invented agriculture yet. Civilization didn't exist. Everything we think of as history happened while that light was already on its way. The Milky Way itself is about 100,000 light-years across. If you could move at the speed of light, which you cannot, it would still take 100,000 years to cross it from one side to the other. Humanity as a species has only existed for about 300,000 years. Crossing our own galaxy would consume a third of our entire evolutionary history. And our galaxy is just one among trillions. When astronomers peer deeper into space with powerful telescopes, they don't see emptiness. They see galaxies stacked behind galaxies, stretching in every direction. Each one is a massive city of stars, bound together by gravity, glowing across unimaginable distances. Some of the light entering our telescopes today began its journey before Earth even formed. This brings us to one of the most unsettling truths the light year reveals: the universe has a horizon. The universe is not infinitely old. It began about 13.8 billion years ago. Light has been traveling ever since. But space itself has also been expanding during that time, stretching the distances between galaxies. As a result, the observable universe is far larger than 13.8 billion light-years. Its radius is about 46 billion light-years. Beyond that boundary, there are regions of space whose light has never reached us and never will. Not because we lack powerful telescopes, but because the universe itself is expanding too quickly for the light to catch up. There are galaxies beyond our cosmic horizon that are forever inaccessible. They exist, but they are causally disconnected from us. No signal we send can reach them. No signal they send can reach us. They are part of the universe, yet permanently outside our reach. This isn't science fiction. It's the geometry of reality. The light year, at this scale, becomes more than a measuring stick. It becomes a boundary marker. It defines what can be known and what must remain unknown forever. And yet, within these vast distances, the laws of physics remain stubbornly consistent. Light always travels at the same speed. Nothing with mass can reach it. As objects move faster, time itself slows down for them. This isn't philosophical speculation. It's been measured, tested, and confirmed over and over again. Particles moving near light speed live longer than they should. Atomic clocks in orbit tick differently than clocks on Earth. Navigation systems rely on these effects to function correctly. Reality itself bends to preserve the constancy of light. This has strange consequences for travel. In theory, if you could accelerate close enough to the speed of light, you could cross enormous distances within a single lifetime, at least from your own perspective. Time would slow down for you. Years might pass on Earth while only months pass for you aboard your spacecraft. But when you returned, the world you left behind would be gone. Everyone you knew would be dead. Civilizations would have risen and fallen. You wouldn't be traveling through space so much as traveling into the future. The light year doesn't just tell us how far away something is. It tells us how separated we are from it in time, causality, and experience. This becomes painfully clear when we think about communication. Radio signals move at the speed of light. This means that any conversation across light years takes years. A message sent to a colony 4 light years away would arrive 4 years later. A reply would take another 4 years to return. An 8-year pause for a single exchange. There can be no real-time conversation. No immediate response. No shared present. Civilizations separated by light years cannot truly coexist in the same moment. They exist in staggered slices of time, forever out of sync. Governance becomes impossible. Cultural unity dissolves. Autonomy becomes inevitable. Distance doesn't just separate places. It separates histories. Even within our own galaxy, these effects are unavoidable. A settlement 10 light-years away would experience decades-long delays. 100 light-years away, centuries. At that scale, messages become artifacts. Letters from the dead. And still, the universe goes on. Stars form, burn, and die. Galaxies collide and merge. Space stretches. Light travels. Every photon carries a story, crossing distances so vast that human language barely has words for them. The light year is humanity's attempt to speak honestly about the universe without pretending it's smaller than it is. It's a reminder that the cosmos does not exist on human terms. It does not care about our intuitions, our timelines, or our desires for immediacy. It operates on scales that dwarf our history and will outlast our species. And yet, somehow, we are here. On a small planet, orbiting an ordinary star. Inside an average galaxy, capable of understanding distances so large they bend the mind. That may be the most astonishing thing of all. When you let that idea settle in, that the universe operates. On scales so vast they erase any sense of immediacy, another realization quietly emerges. Despite these overwhelming distances, the universe is not static. It is alive with motion, change, and complexity. And the light year is the ruler we use to trace that motion across time itself. Every star you see is part of a larger structure. Stars are not scattered randomly through space. They are bound together by gravity into galaxies, and galaxies themselves are bound into groups, clusters, and superclusters. These immense structures stretch across millions and even hundreds of millions of light years, forming a cosmic web that spans the observable universe. Between these filaments of galaxies lie enormous voids, regions of space so empty that they contain almost nothing at all. Some of these voids are hundreds of millions of light years across. Light crossing one of these cosmic deserts would travel for hundreds of millions of years without passing near a single star or galaxy. Space, at its largest scales, is dominated not by matter, but by absence. And yet, even this emptiness has structure. The universe is expanding. Not like an explosion from a central point, but like the stretching of space itself. Every second, new space forms between distant galaxies. Nearby systems remain bound together by gravity, but on the largest scales, expansion wins. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it appears to recede from us. At extreme distances, this expansion becomes so powerful that space itself grows faster than light can cross it. Galaxies beyond a certain threshold are carried away from us forever. Their light, no matter how long it travels, will never arrive. They fade beyond the cosmic horizon, not because they disappear, but because the universe grows too fast to allow connection. The light year defines not just how far things are, but what is possible at all. Within this expanding universe, planets orbit stars. And some of those planets resemble our own. Over the past few decades, astronomers have discovered thousands of exoplanets, worlds orbiting distant stars. Many are unlike anything in our solar system. Planets larger than Jupiter orbiting closer than Mercury, worlds of fire and ice, planets with years that last only days. Some, however, fall into a narrow and fascinating category. Rocky planets orbiting within their star's habitable zone, where temperatures might allow liquid water to exist. These worlds ignite our imagination because water, as far as we know, is essential for life. One of the most remarkable discoveries is a system known as TRAPPIST-1. About 40 light-years away, this small red dwarf star hosts 7 Earth-sized planets. They orbit so close together that from the surface of one, the others would appear large and bright in the sky, closer than our moon appears from Earth. When we observe TRAPPIST-1 today, we are seeing it as it was 40 years ago. Any life that might exist there is separated from us not only by distance, but by decades of time. A signal sent today would arrive there when our present has already become history. A reply would reach us decades after that. At 40 light-years, conversation becomes a generational event. This raises a profound question: if intelligent life exists elsewhere in the galaxy, how would we ever truly connect with it? Even nearby civilizations would be trapped behind years or centuries of delay. Messages would cross space like time capsules. Dialogues would unfold across lifetimes. Relationships, as we understand them, would be impossible. This isn't just a technological limitation. It's a fundamental consequence of the universe's structure. The light year enforces solitude. Even if the galaxy is teeming with life, each civilization may exist in near total isolation, separated not by hostility or ignorance, but by physics. Space itself stands between them, indifferent and absolute. And still, humanity listens. We scan the sky for radio signals. We search for patterns that might betray intelligence. We look for chemical signatures in distant atmospheres. Every detection is filtered through light years of delay. Every discovery is an echo from the past. When we detect an exoplanet atmosphere today, we are analyzing conditions that may no longer exist. When we observe a star flaring violently, that outburst may have ended long before the light reached us. Astronomy is an exercise in reconstruction, piecing together stories from photons that have traveled for years, centuries, or billions of years to reach us. In this sense, astronomers are not explorers of space. They are historians of light. The deeper we look, the younger the universe becomes. At extreme distances, we see galaxies in their infancy, small, chaotic, still forming. We observe the universe when it was only a fraction of its current age. The light year becomes a ladder descending into cosmic history. At the deepest limit of our observations, we encounter the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. The cosmic microwave background is light that has been traveling for nearly the entire age of the universe. It is the oldest light we can see, a faint whisper from a time before stars, before galaxies, before planets. That light has traveled for 13.8 billion years to reach us. And yet, even that ancient signal does not come from the edge of everything. Beyond it lies more. Universe, regions whose light has not yet arrived and may never arrive. The cosmos is larger than what we can see, larger than what we can know. This is where the light year humbles us completely. It tells us that knowledge has limits. Not imposed by ignorance or lack of effort, but by the speed of light and the age of the universe. There are questions we will never answer. Places we will never observe, events we will never witness. And still, we try. We build larger telescopes. We launch observatories into space. We develop instruments capable of detecting a single photon from the depths of the cosmos. Each advance extends our reach by a little, pushing the boundary of the observable universe outward in practice, even if the true horizon remains fixed. All of this effort rests on a simple idea, that light carries information, and that by measuring how long it took to reach us, we can map the universe. The light year is the ruler that makes the cosmos legible. Without it, the universe dissolves into incomprehensible numbers. With it, patterns emerge. Distances relate. Histories align. The immensity becomes navigable, if not conquerable. And somewhere within all of this vastness, on a tiny world orbiting an unremarkable star, consciousness has arisen. A species capable of asking how far, how long, and why. The light year does not make the universe feel smaller. It does the opposite. It forces us to confront the true scale of reality. But it also reveals something extraordinary, despite the universe's immensity. It is governed by rules simple enough for the human mind to uncover. And that may be the greatest distance of all, the distance between insignificance and understanding. As the scale of the universe expands in your mind, something subtle begins to shift. The numbers no longer shock you the way they did at first. Trillions of kilometers, millions of light years, billions of galaxies, these figures start to blur together. And in that blur, the light year takes on a deeper role. It stops being just a scientific unit and becomes a mirror, reflecting our place in a universe that is both vast and indifferent. The most unsettling part isn't how far away everything is. It's how alone distance makes us. On Earth, distance can usually be overcome. Oceans once separated civilizations, but ships crossed them. Mountains divided regions, but roads carved through them. Communication delays shrank from months to seconds. History is a story of shrinking distances. The universe reverses that story. No matter how advanced our technology becomes, light sets a hard limit. It draws a line that cannot be crossed. There will never be faster-than-light messages. There will never be instant travel across the stars. These are not engineering challenges waiting for solutions. They are features of reality. This means the universe will never feel small. Every star system will always be separated by years. Every galaxy by tens of thousands or millions of years. No network can unite them into a single present. No civilization can truly govern beyond its immediate neighborhood. Space enforces isolation at every scale. In this sense, the universe is profoundly decentralized. And yet, that isolation carries an unexpected gift. Because light takes time to travel, the universe preserves its history. Every region carries its own past forward, encoded in photons. The cosmos remembers itself, not in books or records, but in radiation moving endlessly through space. When we observe distant galaxies, we are not intruding on their present. We are witnessing moments that have already passed. We are archaeologists of existence, uncovering layers of cosmic time without disturbing them. This perspective changes how we think about significance. It's easy to feel small when confronted with distances measured in billions of light years. Easy to assume that human life is insignificant against such scale. But scale alone does not determine meaning. A single moment of consciousness, occurring anywhere in the universe, is rare. Complex life requires precise conditions, stable stars, heavy elements, liquid water, time. The universe is large, but habitable moments may be fragile and fleeting. From that perspective, the vastness of space doesn't diminish life's value. It amplifies it. The light year reminds us that existence is not evenly distributed. Life may be separated by light years of emptiness. Intelligence may arise in isolated pockets, each one a brief flare of awareness in a dark ocean of space. And if that is true, then understanding the universe becomes a moral act as much as a scientific one. We study the cosmos not because it owes us answers, but because we are capable of asking. The light year is evidence that our curiosity can stretch far beyond our physical reach. We may never travel to most of the places we observe, but we can know them. We can map them. We can place them within a coherent story. This is a uniquely human achievement. No other species on Earth understands that when it looks at the stars, it is looking into the past. No other species knows that the sky is layered with time. That awareness alone separates us from the rest of life on this planet. The light year also reframes the present. When you realize that even sunlight is 8 minutes old, the idea of now becomes slippery. The present is not a single, universal moment. It is local. It exists only within small regions of space. Beyond that, everything is offset, delayed, staggered. The universe does not share a single clock. This has consequences for how we think about events. A supernova may explode in a distant galaxy, releasing more energy than billions of stars combined. But from our perspective, that event may already be over by the time we see it. Its shockwaves may be long gone. Its remnant may have cooled and faded. We experience the universe as a collage of different times stitched together by light. Even Earth is part of this collage. When astronauts orbit the planet, time passes slightly differently for them than for people on the surface. When satellites navigate our skies, they rely on corrections rooted in relativity. Time is not absolute. Distance and motion reshape it. The light year sits at the intersection of all these ideas. It encodes distance, time, causality, and limitation into a single concept. It tells us where we are allowed to go, what we are allowed to see, and what must remain forever out of reach. But it also tells us something hopeful. Despite the universe's indifference, it is comprehensible. The same laws apply everywhere. Light behaves the same near a distant galaxy as it does in your room. Gravity follows the same rules across billions of light years. The universe is not chaotic beyond understanding. It is vast, but coherent. That coherence is what makes science possible. When we measure light years, we are asserting that the universe is a place we can reason about. That distances, no matter how large, can be compared, understood, and placed into context. That the cosmos is not just something we exist inside, but something we can partially know. This doesn't make us central. It makes us participants. The light year strips away the illusion that the universe was built for us. But it leaves behind something better, the realization that we belong to a reality governed by consistent laws, one that allows consciousness to arise and ask questions about its own origins. And perhaps that is the final lesson hidden inside this deceptively simple unit of measurement. A light year does not just measure the distance between stars. It measures the reach of human understanding. It marks how far curiosity can travel, even when bodies cannot. Across trillions of kilometers and billions of years, the universe sends us its light. And against all odds, we are here to receive it. In the end, the light year leads us back to ourselves. After all the numbers, all the distances, all the galaxies stacked behind galaxies, what remains is not just an understanding of space, but a clearer understanding of what it means to exist within it. The universe does not rush. It does not compress itself for our convenience. It unfolds on scales that dwarf our lives, our histories, and even our species. And yet, within that immensity, meaning still emerges. The light year teaches patience. Everything we learn about the cosmos arrives late. The universe does not reveal its secrets in real time. It sends them slowly, photon by photon, across distances so vast that entire civilizations can rise and fall while the message is still in transit. To study astronomy is to accept delay, uncertainty, and incompleteness. We never see things as they are, only as they were. This is not a flaw. It is the price of perspective. If light traveled instantly, the universe would collapse into a flat, simultaneous snapshot with no depth. There would be no cosmic history to read, no gradual unfolding to reconstruct. The speed of light, and the distances measured in light years, give the universe its narrative structure. They allow time to be written across space. When you look up at the night sky now, you are not just seeing stars. You are seeing layers of time draped across darkness. Some of that light left its source before humans learned to speak. Some before Earth formed. Some before the first atoms assembled into stars. The sky is not empty. It is crowded with stories. And every one of those stories has traveled a measurable distance to reach you. Each one crossed light years of space, surviving dust, gravity, and expansion, to end its journey inside your eyes. That alone is extraordinary. The light year also teaches humility. It reminds us that Earth is not central. Our sun is not special. Our galaxy is not unique. We occupy no privileged position in the cosmos. We exist in a universe that is vast beyond instinct and indifferent to our presence. But humility is not the same as insignificance. The universe does not owe us meaning, but it allows us to create it. On a small planet, around an ordinary star, conscious beings have emerged who can measure the universe, understand its laws, and reflect on their own existence within it. That ability is not guaranteed by size or power. It is fragile. It depends on time, stability, and curiosity. And in a universe measured in light years, those conditions may be rare. The light year therefore reframes responsibility. If intelligent life is uncommon, then preserving it matters. If consciousness flickers briefly in isolated pockets of space, then each one is precious. Understanding the universe is not just an intellectual achievement, it is an act of stewardship over the only perspective we know exists. We are the universe observing itself. But only for a moment. And moments matter. The light year also reminds us that some questions will remain unanswered. There will always be regions of space beyond our reach. Events whose light will never arrive. truths that exist outside our cosmic horizon. This is not failure. It is the natural boundary of a finite observer in an expanding universe. Science does not promise omniscience. It promises honesty about what can and cannot be known. In accepting the light year, we accept limitation without surrendering wonder. We accept that we will never cross most of the distances we can measure. That we will never meet most of what exists. That the universe will always remain larger than our grasp. And yet, we measure anyway. We map the stars. We chart galaxies. We calculate distances in trillions of kilometers and billions of years. We build instruments to catch ancient light and decode its message. We listen, knowing the reply may never come. Because understanding does not require possession. Meaning does not require control. The light year is not a barrier designed to frustrate us. It is a reminder that the universe is not built on human scale, and that our ability to comprehend it at all is remarkable. When you step outside on a clear night and look up, remember this: every point of light is a journey completed. Every star is a message that survived an impossible distance. Every glow is proof that the universe is not silent, only patient. The cosmos speaks slowly, across light years of space and time. And for now, against all odds, we are here to listen. Even after everything has been said, the light year still lingers in the background, quietly reshaping how reality feels. Once you truly internalize it, everyday life never looks quite the same. The problems that once felt overwhelming shrink in a subtle but permanent way. Not because they disappear, but because they are placed into a broader frame. Human conflicts, deadlines, anxieties, all of them unfold on timescales so short that, measured against light years, they barely register. This is not an invitation to indifference. It is an invitation to clarity. The universe does not diminish human experience, it contextualizes it. Knowing that the Milky Way spans 100,000 light-years does not make love, creativity, or curiosity meaningless. It makes them extraordinary. In a cosmos this vast, meaning is not given. It is created. Every civilization that has ever existed has looked up at the same sky. The constellations shifted slowly. Stars moved imperceptibly. Generations lived and died without realizing that the light overhead had already been traveling longer than their entire cultures would last. And yet, they wondered. They told stories. They searched for patterns. Today, we know more. We know that the stars are suns. We know they are separated by light years of emptiness. We know that the universe is expanding and that some places will never be reached or even seen. But the core impulse has not changed. We still look up and ask what lies beyond. The light year is the answer the universe gives us, not in words, but in scale. It says, this is how big reality is. This is how long things take. This is how patient you must be to understand even a fraction of it. It also says something quieter, something easy to miss. You are allowed to know this. You are allowed to measure the distance to stars, to calculate the age of galaxies, to reconstruct events that happened billions of years before you were born. The universe does not hide itself completely. It leaves clues everywhere, written in light. And somehow, minds like ours can read them. That may be the most improbable fact of all. In a universe where distances are measured in light years, intelligence arose on at least one small world. Intelligence capable of understanding light, time, and distance. Intelligence capable of realizing that when it looks outward, it is also looking backward. The light year is proof that reality is not shallow. It has depth. It has memory. It has structure. And within that structure, there is room for awareness. You may never travel beyond your planet. You may never see another star up close. But you already participate in the universe's story. Every photon that reaches your eyes connects you to events unimaginably far away and unimaginably old. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are embedded in it. Measured in light years, human life is brief. Measured in awareness, it is profound. And that is why the light year matters. Not because it is large, but because it tells the truth, about distance, about time, and about our place in a universe vast enough to humble us, yet orderly enough to be understood. The stars are far. The universe is ancient. The distances are real. And still, here we are. There is nothing left to add, only something to sit with. The light year does not demand action. It does not urge conquest or promise arrival. It simply exists, marking the separation between things, quietly insisting that reality is larger than urgency and deeper than immediacy. In a world obsessed with speed, the universe moves slowly. Deliberately. It teaches through delay. It answers questions only after years, centuries, or billions of years have passed. And in doing so, it reshapes the meaning of progress itself. Progress is not always about getting there faster. Sometimes it is about learning how to wait, how to listen, how to understand signals that were never meant to arrive quickly. The universe was not built for constant response. It was built for endurance. Stars burn for billions of years. Galaxies evolve over cosmic epochs. Light travels patiently, never hurrying, never stopping, crossing distances so vast they erase the idea of destination. And somehow, within that slow machinery, brief moments of awareness flicker into existence. We are one of those moments. The light year reminds us that permanence is not required for significance. That something can be temporary and still matter. That meaning does not scale with size or duration. A thought can exist for a second and still change everything. The universe will continue long after Earth is gone. Long after the sun fades. Long after the Milky Way collides with Andromeda and reshapes itself into something new. Light will still travel. Distances will still stretch. Space will still expand. But for now, there is this moment. A moment in which the universe has produced beings capable of measuring it. Capable of understanding that the night sky is not just space, but time. Capable of realizing that every star is a message, and every distance is a story. The light year does not make the universe cold. It makes it honest. It tells us that connection is rare, that immediacy is local, that most things are far away and always will be. And yet, it also tells us that understanding does not require closeness. You do not need to touch a star to know it exists. You do not need to cross a light year to be shaped by what lies beyond it. The universe reaches us anyway. Quietly. Relentlessly. In light. And for as long as we are here, thinking, wondering, looking up, we remain part of that exchange. Across space. Across time. Across light years. Silence follows naturally after that thought, but it is not an empty silence. It is the kind that settles in when something has finally been placed in the right scale. The light year leaves us with perspective, not answers. It does not tell us where the universe is going, or why it exists at all. It does not explain consciousness, purpose, or fate. What it does is strip away illusion. It removes the idea that everything important must be close, immediate, or reachable. It teaches us that reality is allowed to be vast without being meaningless. In fact, meaning may require distance. If everything were near, if everything were instant, there would be no depth. No patience. No accumulation of history. The universe would be flat, compressed into a perpetual present. Light years give reality its dimension. They create separation, and with separation comes structure. Stars need distance to shine without colliding. Galaxies need distance to form without tearing themselves apart. Time needs distance to become history. And understanding needs distance too. We only comprehend Earth because we stepped back and saw it as a planet. We only understood the sun once we realized it was a star among stars. We only grasped the universe when we accepted that its distances dwarf us. The light year is that step back, taken to its ultimate extreme. It invites us to see ourselves not as the center, but as a point, one of countless points, inside a reality vast enough to hold them all. And strangely, that realization does not erase identity. It refines it. You are not important because you are large. You are important because you are aware. Awareness is not guaranteed by the universe. It is not evenly distributed. It does not fill space the way radiation or matter does. It appears briefly, locally, under precise conditions, and then disappears again. In a cosmos measured in light years, awareness may be one of the rarest phenomena of all. That makes every instance of it remarkable. The light year also teaches restraint. It reminds us that some journeys are observational only. That exploration does not always mean arrival. That knowing something exists can be enough to change how you see everything else. We will never visit most of the stars we measure. We will never cross most of the distances we calculate. But those distances still shape us. They still inform our understanding. They still place our lives within a larger context. And that context matters. It shapes how we think about legacy, about time, about what endures. Human achievements feel different when placed beside stars that burn for billions of years. Human mistakes feel smaller, but also more urgent, when you realize how rare intelligent life may be. The universe gives us scale. What we do with it is our choice. The light year does not demand despair or awe. It allows both, and leaves the response to us. Some people feel small and unsettled when confronted with cosmic distance. Others feel liberated. Both reactions are valid. What matters is that once you understand the light year, you cannot unknow it. You cannot look at the sky and see only decoration again. You cannot hear the word star and think of something nearby. You cannot imagine the universe as intimate and immediate. It is vast. It is slow. It is patient. And yet, it is not unreachable. Every night, light that has traveled for years or centuries or millions of years reaches your eyes. The universe bridges the distance for you. It does the traveling. It closes the gap in the only way physics allows. All you have to do is look. And in that simple act, standing on a small planet, beneath an ancient sky, you complete a journey that began long before you existed. Across space. Across time. Across light years. And for a brief moment, the universe is known. And even that knowing is temporary. The universe does not pause for comprehension. It continues expanding. Stars continue aging, galaxies continue drifting apart. Light continues traveling, indifferent to whether it will ever be received. Most of it never will be. Most photons will wander through space. Forever, never touching a planet, never entering an eye, never becoming part of a thought. That makes the ones that reach us extraordinary. Against overwhelming odds, some light ends its journey. Here. On this planet. In this moment. Interacting with atoms, cells, neurons. Becoming sight. Becoming understanding. Becoming meaning. The light year is the measure of that improbability. It tells us how much space a single photon can cross without guarantee of arrival. It tells us how vast the universe must be for even one connection to feel miraculous. It tells us that existence is not efficient, not optimized, not tailored for observers. And yet, observers exist. This is not because the universe intended it, but because the universe allows it. An allowance. In a reality this large, is enough. We often ask whether the universe is hostile or friendly. But those are human categories. The universe is neither. It is neutral, governed by rules that do not bend for comfort or cruelty. The light year is one of those rules, written into the fabric of space and time. It does not care how long a journey feels. It does not care what waits at the end. It only measures what is. And that honesty is its gift. By accepting the light year, we accept the universe on its own terms. We stop insisting that it be small enough to feel familiar. We stop expecting connection to be easy or immediate. We stop mistaking distance for emptiness. Because distance is not absence. It is structure. It is the reason stars can exist without colliding. It is the reason history can unfold without collapsing into a single instant. It is the reason meaning has room to emerge. The universe gives us space, literally and figuratively, to exist, to think, to wonder. And wonder may be the most important response of all. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't demand answers right away. The kind that can live comfortably, with questions measured in light years and timescales measured in billions of years. The kind that understands this. You do not need to reach the stars for them to matter. You do not need to cross a light year to be shaped by what lies beyond it. You only need to be aware that the distance exists. That awareness changes everything. So when the term light year appears again, casually mentioned in a headline, a documentary, a conversation, remember what it truly represents. Not just distance, not just time, but the scale on which reality unfolds. A scale where patience is built into physics. A scale where connection is rare but real. A scale where meaning is not given, but discovered. The universe is vast. The distances are real. The light is still traveling. And for now, we are still here to receive it. Eventually, every journey reaches a point where words begin to thin out, not because there is nothing left to say, but because saying more would only circle what is already understood. The light year brings us to that edge. Beyond it, there is no revelation waiting, no final answer hidden just a little farther away. There is only scale, unforgiving, elegant, and complete. The universe does not resolve itself into comfort. It simply remains what it is. Vast enough that no single life can contain it. Ordered enough that a single mind can still glimpse its structure. That balance is everything. The light year tells us that the universe will never bend itself to human rhythm. It will not speed up to meet our impatience. It will not slow down to accommodate our fear. It unfolds on its own terms, across distances that ignore our urgency. And yet, within those terms, we exist. Not at the center. Not at the edge. Just somewhere inside. That somewhere is enough. We often imagine that importance must come from closeness, that what matters must be near, immediate, tangible. The light year dismantles that assumption. It shows us that influence does not require proximity. That events unimaginably far away can still shape understanding, inspire curiosity, and redefine perspective. A star dying thousands of light years away can change how we think about life. A galaxy seen as it was billions of years ago can change how we think about time. A single unit of distance can change how we think about ourselves. The universe does not speak loudly. It does not announce its lessons. It simply exists, and if you are patient enough, attentive enough, it allows you to notice. The light year is one of those notices. It quietly says, you are living inside something far larger than instinct suggests. It quietly says, your moment is brief, but not irrelevant. It quietly says, understanding is possible. Even when mastery is not. And that is perhaps the most honest relationship we can have with reality. Not ownership. Not control. But awareness. So when you stand beneath the night sky, whether in silence, curiosity, or quiet awe, remember that what you are seeing is not just light. It is distance made visible. Time made tangible. History arriving without urgency. The universe has been speaking for billions of years. Light years are how long its sentences are. And for a short while, we are here to hear them. At that point, the story no longer moves forward. It settles. The light year does not push us toward a conclusion. It resists endings. It exists precisely to remind us that reality is not structured around closure, but continuity. Light keeps traveling. Whether or not anyone is there to receive it. Space keeps expanding whether or not it is being measured. The universe does not wait for understanding to be complete. And neither should we. There is a temptation, when faced with scales this large, to look for final meaning, some ultimate takeaway that ties everything neatly together. But the universe does not offer neatness. It offers coherence without comfort. Order without intention. Beauty without explanation. The light year fits perfectly into that pattern. It is not poetic by design, yet it becomes poetic through implication. It is not philosophical by intent, yet it reshapes philosophy simply by existing. It does not care how we feel about it, and yet it quietly changes how we feel about everything else. It teaches us that reality is allowed to be vast without being cruel. That distance is allowed to exist without hostility. That separation does not automatically mean emptiness. Most of space is empty, yes, but not meaningless. That emptiness allows stars to burn steadily. It allows galaxies to persist. It allows time to unfold instead of collapsing into chaos. The universe needs room to function. The light year measures that room. And within that room, small things matter. A single planet maintaining liquid water for billions of years. A fragile atmosphere protecting complex chemistry. A species capable of curiosity, reflection, and restraint. Measured against the universe, these things are tiny. Measured against nothing at all, they are everything. The light year removes the illusion that importance comes from scale. Instead, it suggests something far more demanding. Importance comes from rarity, from emergence, from awareness. The universe is full of distance. It may not be full of minds. That possibility alone changes the weight of our existence. We often imagine the future in terms of expansion, going farther, reaching more, crossing greater distances. But the light year quietly proposes a different future. One rooted not in how far we travel, but in how deeply we understand. You do not need to cross a light year to be transformed by it. You only need to grasp what it implies. That the universe is older than memory. That reality is larger than instinct. That time and distance are woven together so tightly they cannot be separated. And that somehow, within all of that, awareness exists. This is not a conclusion. It is a perspective. One that lingers long after the numbers fade. One that reshapes silence. One that turns the night sky into something more than scenery. The stars remain distant. The light keeps moving. The universe continues, indifferent and vast. And for a brief span, measured not in light years, but in heartbeats, we are here, capable of understanding that truth. That is enough. There is a quiet confidence that comes with accepting that. Not certainty. Not control. Just a steady understanding that reality does not need to revolve around us to be meaningful. The universe does not need to acknowledge our presence for our presence to matter. The light year settles this gently. It shows us that distance is not a challenge meant to be overcome, but a condition meant to be understood. Space is not waiting for us to conquer it. Time is not waiting for us to catch up. They simply exist, vast and patient, offering context rather than permission. And once that context is clear, something unexpected happens. Fear softens. The universe no longer feels like a threat or a void. It feels like a framework, one that allows complexity to arise without demanding it. One that allows life to appear without guaranteeing it. One that allows meaning to exist without assigning it. The light year reveals how much must go right for even a single moment of awareness to occur. Stable laws. Consistent physics. Enough time. Enough distance. Enough calm between catastrophes. Existence is not loud in the universe. It is precise. And that precision is easy to miss when everything feels close. It becomes visible only when you step back far enough, light years back, and see how much space surrounds each fragile island of matter and thought. This is why understanding distance changes how you think about time. When you know that the light from a star began its journey before human civilization existed, impatience loses its urgency. When you realize that galaxies evolve over billions of years, short-term panic loses its authority. Not because problems disappear, but because they stop pretending to be eternal. The universe teaches scale, and scale teaches humility. But humility does not mean shrinking yourself. It means placing yourself accurately. You are not everything. You are not nothing. You are something rare, happening briefly, inside something enormous. The light year makes room for that truth. It allows you to hold two ideas at once without contradiction, that the universe is unimaginably large, and that your experience within it is real and valuable. That most of reality will never be touched by human hands. And that human understanding still matters. The universe does not reward us for understanding it. Understanding is its own reward. Each light year measured is a small victory over confusion. Each distance mapped is a reminder that chaos is not complete. That structure exists. That the cosmos follows rules simple enough to be discovered, even if they operate on scales beyond comfort. And maybe that is the quiet agreement between us and the universe. It does not promise closeness. It does not promise answers. It only promises consistency. Light will behave the same tomorrow as it did billions of years ago. Space will continue expanding whether we watch or not. The stars will keep shining long after we are gone. And for a short while, we are here to notice, to measure, to reflect, to understand that the night sky is not distant scenery, but a record of reality unfolding across light years of space and time. That understanding does not end the story. It simply leaves us standing inside it, aware, grounded, and small in the most honest way possible. At some point, continuation no longer means adding ideas. It means allowing the same truth to echo from a different angle, the way light reflects off distant surfaces before reaching us. The light year continues to work on the mind long after it has been understood. It reshapes how you think about beginnings and endings. In a universe measured in light years, there is rarely a clean start and almost never a true finish. Stars form from remnants of older stars. Galaxies are built from smaller galaxies. Even the atoms in your body were forged in stellar cores billions of years ago, light years away, long before Earth existed. You are not new. You are recycled stardust, temporarily arranged into awareness. Distance does not separate you from the universe. It explains you. Every element heavier than hydrogen and helium required stars to exist, burn, and die. Those stars lived far away, separated by light years of space and time. Their deaths scattered material across the galaxy, and gravity eventually gathered some of it here. On this planet. In this era. The light year connects those events into a single chain. Without vast distances, stars would not live long enough to create complexity. Without space between galaxies, structure would collapse. Without time stretched across billions of years, chemistry would never mature into biology, and biology would never stumble into thought. Distance is not an obstacle to meaning. It is a requirement for it. The universe needs room to breathe. This reframes loneliness in a surprising way. The universe may be sparse, but it is not empty of connection. Everything that exists is linked through shared laws, shared origins, shared history written in light. Even across light years, there is continuity. You are not isolated from the cosmos. You are an outcome of it. And yet, awareness makes isolation feel real. Consciousness experiences separation. It feels the delay, the silence, the absence of response. The light year ensures that no answer comes quickly from the stars. No reassurance arrives from the void. That silence is not rejection. It is scale. The universe is not ignoring us. It is simply large. Understanding that difference matters. It allows us to stop asking whether we are important to the universe and start asking a better question: what do we do with the brief awareness the universe has made possible? The light year does not answer that. It leaves it open. It gives us context, not instruction. Perspective, not purpose. Purpose remains our responsibility. We can choose to treat our moment as insignificant because it is small. Or we can treat it as precious because it is rare. The universe does not force either conclusion. It simply provides the numbers and weights. Light keeps traveling. Space keeps expanding. Stars keep burning. And on one small world, for a short while, meaning is being considered. That consideration is not loud. It does not ripple across galaxies. It does not change the expansion of the universe by a single atom. But it matters here. And here is not nothing. In a reality where distances are measured in light years, even a single point of awareness is an extraordinary convergence of conditions. Physics aligned. Time allowed. Space provided room. The universe did not promise this moment. But it permitted it. And that permission is enough. So the story does not end with the light year. It opens into it. Every night sky remains an invitation. Every distant star remains a reminder. Every measured distance remains a quiet statement of truth. Reality is vast. Understanding is possible. And for a brief span, far shorter than a light year, far shorter than a star's lifetime, we are here, able to recognize both at once. And that is where the light year finally leaves us. Not with a destination, but with a stance. A way of standing inside the universe without pretending it is smaller than it is. Without demanding that it explain itself in human terms. Without mistaking distance for indifference. The light year does not promise connection. It does not promise answers. It only promises truth. Truth about scale. Truth about time. Truth about limitation. And in that truth, something stable appears. You realize that the universe does not need to feel close to be meaningful. That understanding does not require arrival. That awareness itself is already participation. Every time you look up, light years collapse into a single moment of perception. Distances measured in trillions of kilometers end quietly in your eyes. Time measured in billions of years pauses, briefly, as understanding takes shape. That pause is small. It is fragile. It will not last. But it is real. The universe will continue expanding. Stars will continue burning out. Galaxies will drift beyond reach. Light will keep traveling long after there is no one left to receive it. And yet, for now, there is reception. For now, the universe is not just vast. It is witnessed. The light year marks how far reality stretches. Awareness marks that it was noticed at all. And that is enough to end the story. Not with certainty. Not with closure. But with perspective. The stars are far. The distances are real. The light is still on its way. And for this brief moment, here, now, we understand what that means. After that understanding settles, nothing urges you forward. There is no call to action hidden in the stars. No demand to reach farther, build faster, or conquer distance. The universe does not ask to be pursued. It only exists, vast and consistent, offering itself to be understood by those capable of noticing. The light year remains behind everything you know about space, quietly doing its work. It keeps the universe honest. It prevents illusion. It ensures that wonder is earned, not handed out cheaply. You carry it with you even when you stop thinking about astronomy. It changes how you hear the word far. It changes how you understand time. It changes what now means. You begin to sense that immediacy is rare, that closeness is local, that most of reality exists patiently beyond reach. And instead of feeling excluded, you feel grounded. Because being grounded does not mean being central. It means being accurate. The universe is not waiting for us. It never was. And yet, here we are, briefly aligned with a moment in which light arrives, understanding forms, and awareness recognizes itself inside something unimaginably large. That recognition does not echo across galaxies. It does not alter the expansion of space. It does not slow the passing of time. But it completes something locally. A journey that began light years away ends here. Not in distance, but in comprehension. And when the night sky goes quiet again, when the words finally stop, the universe remains exactly as it was, vast, patient, and unfolding. Only now. It is no longer abstract. It is measured. It is understood. And for a moment, it is known. Only space, continuing to be space. Only light, continuing to travel. Only time, unfolding without pause. The light year remains, not as a concept you actively think about, but as a quiet correction to how reality feels. It stays in the background, ensuring that the universe never shrinks back into something simple or immediate. And that is fine. Because the goal was never to make the universe comfortable. Only to make it understood. So the story does not conclude. It dissolves. Into distance. Into silence. Into light still moving, long after the moment of understanding has passed. The universe continues.